Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stogie video review, and I'm coming to you post-Christmas. Sorry about the delay in the videos, but I'm sure as all of you know, Christmas can really run you ragged trying to get everything done in time, so I really haven't had time to sit back with a cigar. But today I decided to treat myself a little bit. I really enjoy these cigars. I just had one not too long ago. It's an Oliva Series G Maduro, and as you can see, the price is $3.95 a piece. I picked these up locally, and I was really surprised. I got a good recommendation on them, and so I went down, picked up a couple of them, and fired one up right before Christmas, and really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to smoking this one. Anyway, this is a Torpedo. They're 52 by 6. And they run about $80–90 a box online. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I read that these are Nicaraguan puros. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I remember reading something that they were a blend and not all Nicaraguan tobacco. So don't quote me on that quite yet. Anyway, just kind of lopped off about 5/16 of an inch off the tapered end. And draws great so far. Anyway, we got a box press. It's really smooth, small veins. It's got a slight oily sheen. It's sort of like satin. It's got a nice firm packed tobacco feel to it with very little spring. And the pre-light draw, as I mentioned, is great. You really, just by feeling this cigar, I wouldn't get the impression that the draw was as good as it was, just because it feels so packed. But I'm going to go ahead and start lighting. Man, it's been so long since I've been in front of this camera, I almost forget what to do. I feel like I'm rushing through everything, so bear with me. Well, as you can see from the cloud of smoke in front of the camera, this cigar is producing a lot of smoke on the initial draw, and it's fairly creamy, about medium. No real discernible flavor just yet. It's sort of rich, but nothing real definitive yet. So I'm gonna smoke this a little bit and see if I can get any changes out of it. Well, it's been a couple of minutes. The burn's doing real well. The ash is nice and light. It's even. The cigar's still producing a lot of smoke. It's still medium. It's still got a smooth, creamy finish. It's more creamy than it was. That is. And like a Maduro, it's got a nice bitter cocoa or chocolate sort of flavor. I'm not getting much coffee as of yet, and the smoke is really rich, and it's really enjoyable so far. The ash just dropped. Not incredibly strong, but nothing to complain about yet. Didn't wind up in my lap. But anyway, Christmas just passed. I'm sure everyone had some good cigars over the Christmas time. Unfortunately, I was really busy, and I didn't get to smoke as many as I would have liked. I had a couple Camacho Havanas, a Punch Grand Puro, one of these Oliva Series G's. That was a little bit earlier in the pre-Christmas thing, though. And Christmas Eve, I had the most anticipated cigar. I was kind of caught off guard. My brother, who's not a cigar smoker, went out and picked me up a Padron 1926 Maduro, and it was fantastic. I really liked the cigar, and just because it was Christmas time, I decided to, not to touch the notepad, not to get the camera out, just to sit back and enjoy myself. And I really did with that cigar. It was an awesome cigar, but at a $16 price tag, it's a little tough to buy them on a regular basis. This was a fairly big model. I don't remember what the name was, but it was so good that I think I may pick one or two up in the coming months, just so I can have one on hand, because it really is a great cigar, just to have around for a special occasion or something. Well, nothing's changing all that radically up on the Oliva. Still, just as I mentioned before, no change in the couple of puffs that I took while I was rambling on about my Christmas cigar. So I'm gonna smoke some more of that, and let you know what I think later. Here we are, a little bit further along. Getting sort of close to the halfway point. Still got a long ways to go yet, but so far it's a really good cigar. The burn's a little fast. I didn't have that problem with the first one I had, but I'm starting to notice it. The burn is a little quick on this one, but the draw, the volume of smoke, it's all fantastic. The construction overall is it's really good. It's a really impressive cigar, especially for $4. You know what I mean? For a $4 cigar, sometimes you get one that's a little rough and tumbled, and you really don't have that problem with this one. The veins are small, it's smooth, it's got a very light oily sheen. It's just fantastic. I'm not having any wrapper problems, I'm not having any burn problems. Overall, it's just a very enjoyable cigar so far. And another interesting thing is, this is the second one I've had that has done this. It's almost like flipping a light switch. At one point in the cigar, it just goes from good to great. It just gets really rich, creamy, and flavorful, and it just continues to build from there. It's really interesting. It's really enjoyable so far. Well, here we are again, getting a little further along. Approaching the final third. So far, the cigar's been really good. Haven't had any problems with construction. The burn's still great. Draw is still great. Volume of smoke is still great. Flavors are still really enjoyable. I really like this cigar. It's not very often that I smoke one or two cigars and I think, wow, this is good enough, I should go out and buy a box. But that's exactly what I did with this particular cigar. I mentioned they ran about in between $80 and $90 a box. So what I did was, right before, actually on Christmas, a few days before Christmas, I started looking around on auction sites. Cigar Bid in particular. And I bid on an auction that closed the night of Christmas Eve, and I was able to get a box of the Bellicosos, which are a 52 by 5 for $64. I did pretty well, and I'm really happy with that purchase. I really can't wait to get them and see what these see how these turn out over a couple of months, because these are great fresh. It was a fresh box at the cigar shop I bought these at, and I've only had these in the humidor. This one has maybe been in there 2 weeks, so they really haven't had a whole lot of time to age, and they're smoking very well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what what one of these can do in, say, 6 months' time, when they really get a chance to settle out, and and then we'll go from there. I'm sure I'll have them for longer than 6 months, or at least I hope. If not, I'll have to get a box just to age, because I'm really impressed with this cigar. And for $4 a piece, I think it's a fantastic buy. Definitely pick one up if you get the chance. Once again, it's the Oliva Series G Maduro, and I would say get the one that's a little bit bigger than you would typically get, just because they burn a little on the fast side. It's still very rich and creamy, and it's still medium bodied, and I'm starting to get that very familiar sort of edginess of the Nicaraguan tobacco, sort of like a very mild spice, and I'm starting to pick that up now. And when you mix all that together, it makes for a very enjoyable cigar. On a side note, I recently got another question about pairing cigars with drinks, and I'm really not that great at it, but I'm going to give it a stab. I'm having a bit of trouble with the band. Anyway, there we go. I typically drink water with cigars just because I'm trying to review them, and I don't want anything to be clouded or you know what I mean? I don't want the drink to intensify the cigar and make it that much more enjoyable just because I mixed it with that particular drink. So I usually try to stay with a glass of water. And that's what I smoked the first one with. This one, I went in another direction. And when pairing drinks with cigars, I would really say stick to what you know. You know, don't go out and try to buy a bottle of wine or a bottle of scotch or bourbon just because you think it'll go well with the cigar, especially if you have no experience with it, because it could really dampen the whole experience. And after all, cigars are meant to be enjoyed. You don't want to have to choke one down just because you're drinking that glass of something new. So once again, stick with what you know. If you like scotch or you like bourbon, give it a try. Worst comes to worst, you don't like it, just don't drink the rest of the glass with your cigar. But definitely don't go out and buy something you've never had before just to experiment, because I think it could really hurt you. In the optimum situation, you'd be able to go out to a bar or restaurant that allows smoking so that you can sample your cigar with a couple of different beverages to see what you like. In my case, I don't have much experience with wine. It was just recently that I began trying wine, and it's not bad. I've had 2 blushes, one semi-sweet and one semi-dry, I believe. You have to forgive me, I'm not a wine person. But the semi-dry wine went decent with some of the richer, creamier cigars, just because it seemed to help out that dry flavor that I didn't care for in the wine. And to my surprise, the sweet wine went much better with stronger cigars, such as I had this blush with a Haida Nicaragua Celebration, and I was really surprised, just because I'm not one to drink sweet things with cigars, just because the sweetness tends to it does something, and I don't like the mingle in the flavors. But one thing that I don't think you could ever go wrong with is beer in a cigar. I'm sure everyone's had beer at some point in their lives, and you know what to expect. With a really light beer, such as maybe Coors Light, Bud Light, Rolling Rock, they don't. There's not a whole lot of flavor to them, so I really don't think they could affect your cigar either way. It would just be more of an atmospheric kind of thing, where you're having a drink and you're enjoying the cigar, and the whole atmosphere goes together and it becomes enjoyable. But if you're trying to mix if you're trying to pair things for flavor, again, you got to go with what you know. Try, stop by a pizza shop or a six-pack shop just to get a six-pack of something, just to try. In my case, I like, well, you saw before, I drank the milk stout on occasions, and that goes well with the more full-bodied cigars that tend to be a little drier, just because it's got a heavy coffee and sort of creamy flavor to it that really helps the cigar along. Tonight, I decided to go with something a little different, one of my old-time favorites, and that's Bass Ale. This is an import from England. It's not real dark. Some of you are probably fainting right now. You're Bud and Coors Light drinkers, but it's not real dark. It's a nice amber-colored beer. It's not overly flavorful, but it's very enjoyable. It's not too much to overpower this medium-bodied cigar. It's actually going very well with it. So with that in mind, maybe maybe give this a try if you haven't had it before. It's a little pricey though. Well, it's not too bad, but it's I get it for $33 a case. Take that however the prices are in your area. So, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm drinking the Bass with this medium-bodied cigar, and it's going very well. So, I'm sure I didn't answer your question, but I danced around it quite a bit, and maybe I gave you a little food for thought. So anyway, I'm going to finish up the cigar. I got a little bit left to go. It burns a little on the fast side, so I don't imagine it lasting too much longer, maybe another 20 minutes or so. And, we'll wrap things up in, then, about 20 minutes or so. Here we are, and it's about time to wrap things up. You see my cigar and my beer are just about gone. And, it's been a really enjoyable experience. As I'm sure you've figured out by now, I'm really fond of this cigar, so I don't really think I need to talk it up anymore. But it's slowly beginning to build, most likely because it's just a natural thing with cigars. As they get shorter, all the excess smoke and everything just starts to collect and build in the end. But it's not harsh, and it's not too much of a build. It's it's still really enjoyable. That spice that I mentioned earlier is starting to build a little bit. It's still very rich and creamy. It's fairly short on the palate. The burn's been great. The volume of smoke's been great. I just haven't had a single problem with this cigar, and I'm really happy with that. I'm really looking forward to the box I got coming. And the only Olivas I've really ever had were the Flor de Oliva, the Flor de Olivas, the bundle brand. And I thought they were decent. And this cigar is really turning me on. I want to give the others a shot, like the O Bold and whatnot. So this is really sort of a gateway cigar, I guess you could call it. But anyway, I highly recommend trying one. If you happen to see one at your cigar shop, definitely pick one up. It's well worth the $4 you're going to pay for it, and I really don't think you'll be disappointed. So, as always, really appreciate I really appreciate you guys watching, and thanks.